Hi, I'm Roger Lemaitre, President and CEO of UEX Corporation. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our Cobalt assets and answer some of the questions that you've been posing to us over the last several months. Primarily, why haven't we done the spin out and when can we expect a spin out? I can certainly understand shareholders' frustrations and concerns about the spin out, and certainly we've been looking to do something and monetize those Cobalt assets for several months, several years, going back to 2017. The only reason why a company like UEX should consider a spin out of any of their assets if they feel they can create value for the existing shareholders. And that's certainly the case for us at West Bear and Michael Lake. Conditions over the last couple of years since we announced our intention to do the spin out just haven't been there to create value for existing shareholders. I think it's safe to say that since about mid-2018 till just about recently, the conditions haven't been right to do a spin out that creates value for UEX shareholders. With this year's price increase in the cobalt space getting back to the level we saw in early 2017, that time is changing. I think the value balance between new shareholders that would come into the cobalt company and existing UEX shareholders is starting to become probably a little more reasonable. So we have a little chart here that's going to pop up. Sort of shows a little bit about the history of the cobalt price since about mid-2017 and coincides with things that have happened in the world and some of the things that we've done over that same time frame. So you can see, in early 2017, cobalt prices had just come up to about $60,000 a ton. And in the last part of the year, skyrocketed up pretty quickly to right in the $90,000 a ton range. We saw an opportunity with our cobalt assets at West Bear and announced our entry into the cobalt sort of arena in November of 2017. We got our first program up, launched and running, drill program at West Bear in February of 2018. Announced our results in the end of March, early April, and got to a resource estimate by the end of June of the 2018. Until we had the technical report done in 2018, we weren't able to move forward with a spin out because we needed the 43-101 technical report. So that was kind of the limiting factor in being able to take advantage of the upswinging market. To go from concept to a maiden resource in a 7-month window, including a drill program in between, it was a pretty significant accomplishment for any company, and I was really proud of how our UEX team managed to make that happen. Unfortunately, it was in June of 2018 when cobalt prices came off their high and slipped right back to the $60,000 a ton level, and coincided with a very difficult bought deal financing for $300 million that turned cobalt into sort of a four-letter word in the investment community in Toronto for quite a few years. We saw prices continue to slip in 2019. In fact, one of the big things that happened in late 2018 was the Katanga mine in the DRC, which was one of the world's largest mines and about 20% of world production, halt their exports due to a uranium contamination issue in their cobalt concentrates. And the world was a little bit concerned that EV ramp-ups weren't happening quite as fast as anticipated, although since then clearly they've far exceeded that, and that there was going to be some cobalt stockpiling going on as Katanga continued to operate but not sell their product. We went on, continued to do our second program at West Bear, did the modified resource, and in early 2019 we saw that Glencore took 20% of the world's supply, or announced that 20% of the world's supply was going to come off the market at the Matanda mine because they were going to put it on care and maintenance. With cobalt prices remaining flat through most of 2019 and 2021, and with the impact of COVID, it didn't make a whole lot of sense for us to spin out a cobalt company with minimal value to UEX shareholders. With the rapid increase in prices of cobalt since the beginning of the year, and the announcement that Matanda production will be coming back online at the same time, we think that the conditions are improving, that we could do a deal that would create value for UEX shareholders in the relatively near future, but of course, time will tell. Hopefully that answers your question, but it has been a very difficult couple of years to try to put out a new company in the cobalt space when many of them are disappearing. Thank you, and please submit any more questions you might have. We'll do our best to answer as many of these in the future.